The opening scene is arguably the most important in a film. Some of the best filmmakers are able to use it to paint a clear microcosmic portrait of what's to come in the rest of their movie, or what it's about. For something like the original Star Wars, for example, we see a small rebel cruiser that's being pursued by a giant intimidating Imperial ship, and if that wasn't enough, we get taken to the skirmish between the forces, which immediately establishes the rebels as the film's underdogs and the Empire as an evil, powerful force. Others use it to cleverly showcase the answer to the mystery that their film revolves around, without us realizing it until its end. Any way you slice it, opening shots are designed to tell us something we need to know. And as I settled down to watch Hoosiers again recently, I realized that its opening shot acts as a 4-minute journey into and through the world it takes place in, setting up the backdrop of the whole story entirely, visually. The first thing we see is a 30-second long pan that opens on a dark road with only a car's headlights illuminating the screen. As the car approaches the screen, the camera swings with the vehicle's motion and continues to follow its movement to indicate that it is the subject of interest here. We then see the sun rise over a countryside from the view of a car window, which gives a sense of being in the vehicle looking out onto the country. We then begin to see a variety of wide and far away shots of the car going through various parts of the countryside, which serve as a fantastic way to show us just how isolated and far away from urban towns and cities the destination of the car truly is. With the camera seemingly tethered to the car itself, the viewer immediately understands that not only is this the character of the story's focus, but we also get to see his drive to the small town of Hickory through the same lens that he does. And with the distant wide shots, we also get to feel his smallness in this giant landscape firsthand. The opening intercuts wide and distant shots of the lone car driving along wide vistas, with small close-ups of Gene Hackman's character in the car looking out onto the landscape. A small glance into the lives of two kids playing basketball on the side of the road gives Hackman's characters and the audience a look at how ubiquitous the sport is throughout Indiana, and as he looks to small details outside the car, so do we. The distant shots continue, one even being incredibly tall just to show how small Hackman really is in the enormous and seemingly infinite landscape of the countryside. As Hackman finally makes his way to the small town, we lose those incredibly distant views of his journey and begin seeing closer looks at his final steps to Hickory. As Hackman's character enters his destination, a high school, we see him walk into frame inside, alone and in silence, taking a moment to gaze at the town's quaint basketball trophies. The opening finishes when the school's bell tolls, and students begin flooding in, and the story begins. What really elevates this opening is how everything we need to know about Hickory, and more impressively, the nature of those that live there, is shown to us entirely visually. Not once do we hear a word in the opening about the tininess of Hickory, because the excellence of the shot composition shows us exactly what we need to see and how to feel about it. The intimacy of the experience of driving with Hackman also gives us a subtle connection to him right away, before we even see him talk. The opening gives the viewer an understanding of what it's like to live in Hickory and the surrounding area, and with a story that contains characters with conflicting feelings about the place, some even looking to get out of the small town, we have the understanding needed to truly comprehend the obstacles that come with acting upon those feelings. This single 4-minute opening gives Hoosiers the toolkit to create not only a great world backdrop for the rest of the film, but also a believable cast of characters that, even when minor in their role, bring with them a sense of realism. With those distant shots in the opening, we get a true sense of just how small Hickory is, and by proxy, just how much Hackman's character will have to overcome to take his team of some Hickory basketball boys all the way out of the infinite country landscape and to the top of their league.